Hi, I'm Bennett, and thank you for taking some time out to watch this video. I wanted to tell you about my fundraising campaign and what it means to me, actually, to be able to give back to KCSM as a radio station. It means a lot to me. It's a privilege to be able to do this live performance series known as In the Moment, week after week, which I've been doing since 2006. I can tell you that I've been a recording engineer for a long time, mostly with radio stations, having worked at KPFA for close to 30 years and doing lots of live broadcasts. And to me, there's nothing more exciting, actually, than to participate in a live performance, regardless of the kind of music, than to be a recording engineer for that performance and to be able to present it on the radio. And to me, it really is about bringing the music community closer together and being, if you will, at ground zero, where the music of jazz happens before live audiences, as I say on the show In the Moment, capturing lightning in a bottle sometimes. And I just really feel that it's important to be able to, for me personally, to be able to continue to do this show on KCSM, which I do largely out of the love of the music.
I first met Jim Bennett when he appeared at the Great American Music Hall in KPFA's remote unit, which was a rather grand term for a recycled bread truck full of a great deal of recycled audio equipment with which he, against all odds sometimes, successfully engineered and produced live remote recordings and even live broadcasts of musical performances all over the Bay Area. We did a lot of those shows at the Great American Music Hall and went on to do Jazz in Flight shows at a number of venues. And between the two of us, we've probably remote recorded hundreds and hundreds of live jazz performances in the Bay Area. I'm lucky enough that now that Jim's come back from the wilds of Florida, where he spent a brief hegira managing a radio station, I can once again call on him to substitute for me when I'm in that envious position of having to be two places at once. I can confidently call on Jim to come in and do shows at the jazz school, or pretty much anywhere, knowing that his knowledge of jazz and other vernacular music, be it Indian, West African, whatever, I know that he has the musical vocabulary as well as the technical expertise to do a successful show. I call Jim, he says he's going to be there, I've stopped worrying about that show.
Jim Bennett's program, In the Moment, is one of those rare gems on the radio, a program that you're not going to find anywhere else. And Jim really does a wonderful job with the production, going out to the clubs and really connecting with those musicians and bringing us those rare moments, those moments when the musicians are just in the pocket and everybody is just having a great time. And jazz, let's face it, it's meant to be experienced live and in the moment, and that is what this program is about. And you're not going to find anything like this on the air or anywhere on the internet. And what's really nice is Jim has a local angle as well. He goes out and introduces you to some artists that you may have never seen. Maybe you've heard their name or seen it in the paper but never got out to the clubs to see them. Well, Jim is one of those folks that brings it right to your living room in the comforts of your own home, and does it in a very high production fashion, always sounding great.
Very important. Why? Because it's in the moment. Jazz is all about now. There are people who promote jazz who say, I don't own a single jazz record. All I do is I bring musicians in, I listen to them play, and then it's gone. It's an evanescent thing. If you don't catch it, then it's gone. Jim has this phrase that he uses from time to time, catching lightning in a bottle. Sometimes you can do it in the studio, but I would think it was relatively rare.
Jim Bennett brings years and years and years of expertise. He has an incredible ear, so I trust him implicitly when it comes to engineering and mix. He knows the musicians, he knows the music, he knows acoustics, he knows microphones, he knows setup. He can do it all, from setup to recording to mixing to editing. He brings years and years and years of experience.
A show like Jim Bennett's In the Moment is really vital especially since it's not supported by NPR or any of the other foundations or entities, because it gets real music out to real people, not just here in the Bay Area, but all around the world, because we're on the internet, and all kinds of new people go, hey, wow, that's really great stuff they're doing there in the Bay Area. And Jim kind of, he busts his butt to get his equipment out there, he gets the release form signed, he records the music, it's impeccably done, and it's really an important show, especially for the next generation of players and people who come along and say, gee, I don't know what the real deal is. What's the truth? Well, it's the truth. If you go out on the internet and you're looking around for music, live music, you don't know what you're hearing. Is this something that's canned? Is it Sirius Satellite? Is it the All Bing Crosby channel? Whatever. Something that In the Moment is doing is bringing it to you right now, hot, live, and passing on that legacy of great jazz to new players and new listeners.
I'm Myra Melford. I'm a pianist and composer, and I'm looking forward to getting to perform the music from my new solo recording, which is called Life Carries Me This Way, at Piedmont Pianos on Friday, December 13th. It's a chance for me to celebrate the release of this new CD, and it's wonderful to get to play it in California because the artist whose work that I used as inspiration for the pieces on this record is originally from Martinez and Sacramento, and although he's no longer alive, it feels great to play it in his home territory. And I'm also looking forward to getting to promote the work that Jim Bennett is doing as a teacher and mentor for young musicians and recording artists in the Bay Area. So it's really a great celebration and a way to also promote this great music community that we have here in the Bay Area.
It's intriguing to hear that there's a educational component of this project. Jim Bennett, of course, is known so well throughout the Bay Area as an expert sound technician and recording technician. And the idea that through this project he's going to be able to share this this knowledge with mentoring for people, particularly people here in Oakland and around the Bay Area, it's going to be a real opportunity for people to learn from one of the real masters of recording and sound. And so we're very happy to hear that this is part of this project.
My name is Susan Muscarella, and I'm the Executive Director of the Jazz School here in Berkeley, California. And I would just like to express my appreciation and gratitude to you, Jim Bennett, for all you've done for the Jazz School in terms of sound. We've been really, really fortunate to have you here. And what I appreciate so much is that you have an appreciation for the students themselves and the learning process, and being so willing to include them in all of the work that you do here. You have a lot of patience with them, which we definitely need.
As a former trainer for the KPFA apprenticeship program, Jim has extensive experience bringing in people of all ages, virtually with very little skill, to become trained music and radio engineers.
We were lucky enough to host a birthday party for Kenny Washington, and that would have been December 2011. And we hosted that at the Uptown Body and Fender, which is a garage that doesn't look anything like a garage. And it was a wonderful birthday party, and we wanted it to be very special. So to make it special, we needed the sound to be right. And we spoke with Susanna Smith, who's on our board of directors, and she introduced us to Jim. And he came in and set the sound up, and it was an amazing evening. It was perfect.
And it was a difficult space. It was a big garage space with a large ceiling and a lot of different technical aspects. I first heard about Jim from listening to KCSM for decades, ever since I moved here in '86, and hearing his program when it started up in the moment and finding it just like a
Wonderful show.
wonderful show, because you're being transported into these other places for show, live music, which really captured the essence of the performance in the moment. And then when I heard from Susanna that there was a possibility that he'd help us with our sound, we were ecstatic, because it's not our business. We don't know how to do that stuff. We depend on advice and contributions from a lot of talented people to kind of get this stuff done as a collective.
Hi, I'm Lisa Engelken, and I'm a jazz indie artist working here in San Francisco. I'm here to talk to you today about what a great experience I had working at the Sound Room. And the reason why it was so pleasurable, I'd have to say, is because the sound at the Sound Room was absolutely impeccable. I felt like I was singing in a recording studio. And so for me, it was a very pleasurable experience. And for the audience, it was truly a delight.
I think Jim would be, and he is, a great teacher, and I think up-and-coming sound aspirants would have a great benefit from his knowledge and experience. He takes really great care to make sure that he's not stepping on any musician's toes or getting in their way during the performance, and he really cares about how the performance is going to be presented. There's nothing to fix because he's already got the sound dialed up so well, and he takes great care with the filming even of the performance. So it's this meticulousness and this care and respect that he has for the musicians that really comes through, and I know that he would be a great teacher for anyone wanting to follow in these footsteps.
Jim did do sound for one of our events here, and it was a completely different from whatever we had going on before, which we realized was really bad. Once we heard that Jim, how he set up the stage and did the sound for this concert that was featuring an artist, Jazzy Jan, and the legendary Tammy Hall on piano, and numerous other people in our Celebrating Women's Musicians concert series. It was just a wonderful mix in the room, and we had a lot of people here, and there were artists here, professional musicians too in the audience, and they all had the same feedback, which is, wow, this sounds really great.
And then when I was approached the first time to actually be a part of recording for the In the Moment show, I was honored on several levels. It's a showcase program, and it's widely known within musicians how supportive Jim has been over the years, and not just in having this vehicle of the Sunday night show In the Moment, but also in working with musicians, and the kind of guy who comes to the show to record and is a friendly face, and someone who knows the music, and someone who wants to work with musicians and get their best art across, which for musicians is a very important thing.
And to learn how to do the technical aspects of recording is something that's going to be very valuable to many students, because when you get involved in music, it really opens the world up to you in many ways. And it's not for everybody that they end up touring the world, but it might be that they go into sound production, it might be that they go into another aspect of music, possibly arranging or composing. So as we know, when you're young, you can take things in many different directions, and so to expose a young musician to the different aspects of music making that there are is a really valuable experience for them.
The idea is to not only celebrate KCSM, but all these organizations that are dedicated to music, and to give back to the music community in the ways that I can. So really, I wanted to do something more meaningful than just a specific project. The specific project is to put together a CD for KCSM of live performances that I've recorded on In the Moment. But I also want to be able to continue the efforts to really have ties, strong ties to the music community and the schools in the area that present music, specifically jazz.